All right, we're gonna start by talking about the collection in front of us today. This is a collection I paid $700 for. We estimated the market price at $1,200, and that would give us a margin estimate of 58%. So I broke it down into components. This is all bulk, so I just wanted to show it, but I'll put it to the side. These are just kind of reverse hollows and such, regular reverse hollows. And then we have A-specs, and the rest of this pile, I try to take this without messing up the rest. These are all just double rares. So mostly EXs. There's a ton of EVs in here, so there is some value, but just for all intents and purposes, we're gonna assume no value for anything we just talked about. So for that reverse hollow pile, for the A-specs and the EXs. Then we get to this pile, which these are all regular Pokeball reverse hollows, all of them. So I'm not sure, this might be a binder for a show. This might just be a lot I put up on eBay, but I'm also, just to be conservative with the profit here, also just not gonna count this. Now we'll count this pile. This is all Master Balls. So for example, I know this Alakazam is like a $8 card, I believe, even in Japanese. So this pile has and same with the Tatsugiri. So this pile actually does have some market value. And I don't believe any of these were actually included in that estimate of 1,200. I'll let you know as we go what was and wasn't, but I don't believe this was included. The next pile, these two piles are the same thing. They're all higher than double rares in rarity. But this pile is English, and there's much fewer English in this. So I'm just gonna quickly rifle through so you can see what kind of cards are in here. So you got a mix of, $1 cards up to, I don't know, probably like $10-ish cards. So I don't think there's anything terribly expensive in the English pile. This was predominantly a Japanese collection. Then you get to this pile, which is all the Japanese stuff. And so there are some, as you can see right off the bat, there are some bigger cards in here that are, some of these gonna be north of 50 bucks. But just to give a kind of a sample of what's in here, so you got Ethan Cyclosion. There's a good spread. So, I mean, it's a pretty big pile. There are, I'm gonna do some counts later, but not all of these cards were included in the 1,200 market, for example. I think like these Roaring Moons were, but I think we should be able to prove relatively easily that that 1,200 market valuation was conservative. I'm gonna put these to the side, and then we'll talk about the slabs. This pile, I sorted these relatively quickly, but this pile should be kind of the lower end stuff. This is stuff I would, I think this is like a $15 slab. So like this is stuff that would be awesome to fill up the showcase for a show. People love buying cheap slabs at shows. So I don't even think I'll bother putting those on eBay. This stuff is like your perfect eBay range where it's all, I think this is all sub 50. Like I think this is 40. I think this one's like 45, close to 50. This one is tough to tell because the only other tag 8.5 has a swirl, and I don't think, as you can see, that this one has a swirl. So I think this is, I'm estimating on this one, but this pile is all prime eBay candidates. And then this is stuff that I will probably try. I've never done Facebook Marketplace. I've only up till now done eBay, but I think these are perfect Facebook Marketplace cards, just to kind of avoid some fees, and they're very liquid, high demand cards. So you've got, I mean, this is obviously a tag grader collection. We'll talk about this one after. And then this is a suite. I would love to keep this for PC. And then you got this, which raw, I think is like 150 or so. But he told me that this one is the most disappointing card for him because he did submit all these for grading himself, and he couldn't find anything wrong with it. So clearly there's obviously some sort of surface mark probably on the front that Tag picked up that the naked eye has trouble with. So I'm very tempted. I've never cracked a slab before, period, but I'm very tempted to crack this, or maybe I just try to sell it equal to raw value for like an LP or something, because it is still EX to mint. I'm just not really sure what to do with this one. And then the biggest card in the whole collection isn't actually graded. So this is the Sunbreon, as it's referred to. And this one I'm pretty certain I'm gonna grade. It looks pretty flawless to me. You know, Japanese cards tend to get away with that. The centering looks great. It looks like he took really good care of all his stuff. I haven't done a super close-up, like blacklight, surface mark inspection, but corners look great, centering looks great. So I think this is probably gonna get submitted. And I checked the PSA 9 values roughly are raw value plus grading. So I feel pretty safe submitting even if it gets a 9, and then 10's gonna add 50% value. So I think it goes from like a mid 2s card to around the high 3s or the 4 mark. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and break everything down. Now that we've kind of recapped what's in here, I'm gonna go do the work on mainly this pile. This is mainly gonna take the time and figure out how that fits into the categories of bulk, $1 to $7, $7 to $20, $20 to $75, and over $75. So if it's bulk, I'll probably just use it for giveaway stuff at a show. If it's bulk English, I use it for repacks that I do, but I've never come across this many bulk Japanese cards, so I'm not really sure. I'll figure out maybe a big lot on eBay or something. 1 to 7 would be show binder. 7 to 20 would be perfect for eBay standard envelope listings. 20 to 75 will just be eBay USPS ground. And then over 75 would probably be try to either do Facebook Marketplace or a show.
A few moments later.
All right, it's time to recap the whole transaction. So as we discussed at the start, paid $700. The established market was $1,200. And this is based off of the collector information he had sent over. So this is from him. That gave an estimated margin of 58%. That would obviously not consider fees or anything. Now for the actuals, what is not included in these numbers is I'm not including the basic EXs, I'm not including the Pokeball Reverse Hollows, not including the A-Specs, and I'm also not including this pile right here, which has 48 cards that are all illustration rare plus, and they're all under $7 each. So this whole stack is 48 cards that are all very similar to this. So excellent show binder stuff, but we're just gonna, for all intents and purposes, gonna consider that all free with this transaction. Now, what this does include is $756 in graded card market value, $971 in raw market value. There's one big adjustment from when I recorded the first part of the video to now that I've sorted everything. And I mentioned it briefly, but we'll get to it when we get to it. So I'm gonna start with the raw stuff. This is the $7 to $20 pile. There are a few higher ticket Master Ball Reverse Hollows in here. So I think this is all great stuff for eBay. And then 2 of these Roaring Moons. Again, that's the $7 to $20 pile. I'm gonna put that back away. Now for the $20 to $75 pile. This is also gonna be stuff for eBay. Now for the over $75 pile, in ascending order of price. First we have the Sylveon. Second, the Sunbryon. And lastly, this is the card I wanted to discuss, the Team Aqua Kyogre EX, which was in a Tag 6 slab. I removed it from the slab. The guy who sold the collection said this card was his biggest disappointment of the bunch because to his eye, this card looked perfect. So I'm going to let you guys see exactly what I'm seeing. Super up close. The front looks fantastic. Maybe a little bit heavy on the top to bottom centering. The left looks a little thin, but in terms of quality, nothing 6 related stands out. On the back, you can see the left and right are very clean, but there is a small whitening on the top right that's noticeable. And let's see if the angle shows it well. If you angle it properly, there's a little bit of noticeable whitening on the bottom part. But to me, this still hits the NM category. This is not a 6. So it's possible that, it's tagged. Maybe they're picking up something that is just too hard for the eye, or even me with the black light couldn't find anything on the surface. But I am comfortable enough with this being an NM card. Even at a 6, the actual slab said EX-NM. And I feel, especially for this card, which really has a lot of bad quality versions on eBay, I feel like this is now a prime raw card to sell. So I'm very excited about this one. I put it up last night for $475 because that's super high. But I saw them selling in near mint condition for $400, and I checked the ones that were selling, and this is actually in better condition than those ones. So I figured it can't hurt to just throw it up, see what happens. I already got offers in the high 300s. I got an offer for $370, and in my math to calculate the market value, I only put this in as 300 market value just to be extra conservative. So I wanted to point that out. Now we'll move on to the graded cards. I have these separated into 3 piles. This is the low end, mid-range, and then what I'll call high end, which is kind of over the $50 mark. So we start with this. This will be stuff I likely will not bother putting on eBay because I would like to have cheap slabs for my first show. These are all right in the $10 to $15 range. I feel comfortable that they probably aren't gonna be flying around in price. I think anyone would probably be happy to pay $10 for any of those at a show. So I'm excited to have those in general. These will likely all be for eBay. So you can just see, I'm kind of surprised that this in a 10 is not worth more. And it's Reshiram, however you want to call it. I think this is surprising to me. This is like a $40+ card, and it's just the Leafeon Master Ball Reverse Holo, but it's in a 10. And then you got one of the CGCs sneaks in there. And last but not least, I will probably PC this, but this is the Giovanni's Persian. And then for the last pile, the quote high end, so you've got the Vaporeon in a 9, Misty's Psyduck in a 10, Ethan's Ho-Oh in a 9, Leafeon in a 10, and probably my favorite card in here, the Reshiram and Zekrom GX Tag Team in a 10. Overall, super happy with this transaction. It was my biggest purchase. Generally, I've stayed in the $300 to $400 range when buying collections, which usually only leaves around $150 in good buy scenarios of profit to be made. If I take the grand total of $1,727 market, and then I just put that after fees, I get $1,446. But I think this is a great situation because just the slabs, net after fees, not including any Facebook Marketplace sales, just all eBay fees, would be $633 net, which is almost my purchase price. And then just on the raw is $813 net. So effectively, I could either sell just the slabs or just the raw, and the rest is, we'll just call it free. So just in terms of, was this a good deal? Yes, this was a great deal. This Kyogre EX adds a lot of extra profit to be made because it's not in a 6 anymore. And when I purchased it, it was valued as a 6, which put it in like the $130 range. So I would be interested to see what you guys think about just the morality of selling something like this. I am not disclosing that it was previously a tag 6, but I put very, very detailed photos in the listing. To the best of my ability, I don't see any reason why this shouldn't be considered a near mint card raw. Outside of really the only clear cosmetic issue here, if I can get it in focus, is that top right corner, which I noted previously with the whitening. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you think. Is it shady to sell this raw without disclosing that it was graded a 6? To me, it checks the boxes of what I would be comfortable with as this being near mint. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but please let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.